Hey G-Hey, today we're going to go over some bones that are important for a violin player. So the first bone to go over is the manubrium. You can find the manubrium by going down from the center of the neck till you find a bony notch. This is the upper part of the sternum, and it's important because it's the only place where your upper extremities meet your skeleton. The next bone I'll palpate is the clavicle. This bone attaches from the top of the manubrium and goes distally away from the center of your skeleton. Clavicle is important because it attaches, or is the insertion point for a lot of your main muscles, such as the deltoid, the trapezius, pec major, and the sternocleidomastoid. The next bone is the acromion process, which is at the distal end of the clavicle. This process is important because it is the insertion point for the deltoid and trapezius. The next bone is the coracoid process. This process is slightly medial and inferior to the acromion process. This process is the insertion point for the coracobrachialis in the pec minor.
Alright, so now we're going to do some palpation of the scapula. We're going to start with the location of the inferior angle, which is the medial and lateral borders where they meet at the bottom. So if you look over here at Rachel's scapula, it comes all the way down at the inferior angle right here. This location also gives origin to the teres major and latissimus dorsi, which is able to glide over this angle. The second one we're going to go over today is the spine of the scapula. It begins at the medial border and ends in the acromion process. This is the origin of the supraspinatus and infraspinatus muscles. You come over here to the medial border again, and it's going to glide up and it's going to go all the way over.
So we're now going to do some palpations of the scapula. First, we're going to start with palpating the medial border. It's the longest border and it extends from the superior angle to the inferior angle of the scapula. It's pretty easy to find, so you start at the superior angle and just run your hand medially to the inferior angle, and that's the medial border of the scapulae. It attaches the serratus anterior, the levator scapula, and the rhomboid. Now we're going to palpate the lateral border. It's the thickest border of the scapula. It begins at the lower margin of the glenoid cavity on over here, and inclines downward all the way to the inferior angle. What inserts here is the teres major and the subscapularis.
Oh, hey there, and welcome back. Namaste. Today we're going to be looking at scapular rotation. First we're going to go into actually elevation. Miss Kinsey right here is elevating her scapulae, which uses her trapezius upper and middle fibers, as well as her rhomboids right through here and her levator scapulae. Now when she depresses during depression, she uses her pectoralis minor, right in under here, as well as her trapezius lower fibers. For upward rotation of her scapulae, Kinsey is using her upper traps, her middle traps, and then her serratus anterior. For downward rotation, she is again using her pec minor and her rhomboids. The scapulae must move for these movements in order to maintain the length of the muscles. Too much stretch or too much contraction of muscle can make it very lax and can cause some instability issues. Additionally, this maintains alignment of the joints and the muscle fibers, which can prevent dislocation or subluxation of any of these more at-risk joints. Namaste.
For our therapeutic plan today, I am going to be giving you a strengthening exercise to really work on strengthening those deltoid muscles that you really need when you play the violin. I'm also going to be giving you a couple stretching exercises to really work on just getting those muscles really active in that motion and just getting them to be not stiff and not tight. And then finally, I'm going to be giving you a soft tissue massage component, which you can do yourself. It'll be right before you go on to play the violin in case you have tight shoulders or any stiffness, just to really help alleviate that pain so you can do what you want to do and play the violin. So this strengthening exercise that we're going to be doing is called a decline push-up. It's a variation on your regular push-up that you might know of and have done before in exercises and workouts before. A decline push-up is where you have your feet on a higher surface, such as a chair or maybe a couch or just a table or just a higher surface basically than where your body will be at. And you're going to start in your normal push-up position, but with your feet elevated, and just go in the same general motion as your push-up. This exercise is really going to be working on those deltoid muscles, those main shoulder muscles, and really just working on just getting a lot of strength into this abduction as you're going down into the push-up position, and then it's extension as you're coming back up. So just keep watching and we'll get working on that right away. For this next stretch, we're going to be working on stretching the anterior portion of our shoulders. So we're really working on the anterior deltoid, which is something you definitely need to be working and strengthening and stretching when you're playing the violin. So this one is a simple anterior arm shoulder stretch. And you've probably seen it before, but just really don't know what it works on. So you're going to take one arm, either arm. We're going to start with the right arm, and you're going to stretch it across your chest, and with the opposite arm, pull your elbow to your chest. You should really be more feeling it in your shoulders, your shoulders, and possibly just your shoulder all around. But this is really working on stretching that deltoid muscle. I'm going to hold it for about 10 to 15 seconds. And when you feel a good stretch, let it go, and then move on to your next arm. So same thing, pull across your chest, and with the opposite arm, pull your elbow to your chest. And you should be feeling the stretch in the same place as the other arm, just in the anterior shoulder, and really working those deltoid muscles. So for this next stretch exercise, it's going to be a posterior shoulder exercise. So we're working on stretching the posterior muscles of your shoulder, so the posterior fibers of the deltoid. So for this one, you can either use a rope, a towel, or a band. I'm going to be using a resistance band, but you can also use a towel if that is most convenient for you. So like I said, a posterior stretch, so it's going to be your posterior side. What you're going to do is drape the towel or band across over your back, and with the other hand, grasp it behind you, and make sure you get a firm grasp on it. And then what you're going to do is pull up. While you're pulling up, just pull up as if you're trying to reach the back of the neck with your lower armpit. You should really be feeling a stretch in that posterior shoulder region. Just gonna hold that. For this last stretch, we're going to be doing a tricep stretch. So this one I'm going to be working on the posterior muscles of your shoulder as well, like the triceps, like I just said, which are also important in maintaining that motion with your right arm and holding up the violin with your left. So for this one, I'm going to be using the same towel or band that you used in the last stretch or exercise. So posterior, so here we go. Drape the towel or band over the shoulder like last time and grasp it in the other hand. Then instead this time we're going to be pulling down. As you're pulling down, you want to keep your upper arm perpendicular with the floor, but parallel to your torso. So try to just keep it straight. So when you're pulling down, I really feel a stretch in those triceps, in your back of your shoulder. For our soft tissue massage component, it's going to be really simple. It's something you can do just by yourself, maybe before you go out and play the violin. If you feel your shoulders are a little tense, you can kind of just rub it out and feel it out. It's just really simple and just not very complicated at all. You kind of just feel kind of where your trapezius is, kind of just it would originate in the base of the skull, but that's the upper fibers of the trapezius. You have 3 fibers, upper, middle, and lower. They all have crucial parts in shoulder movement. But what you really be feeling for here is those upper fibers of the trapezius, really on the top portion of your shoulder and the posterior top portion of your shoulder. So really kind of just feeling it out, kind of squeezing it and rolling it a little bit, kind of like if you were to shrug. It's kind of where we get a lot of our shoulder pain from bad posture, just how you hold your head or neck, or how you just sit in your chair. So this kind of could really alleviate some of that pain that you feel in your shoulder. So just either way, just rolling it out, really feeling just where you're tense and kind of just, giving yourself a deep tissue massage. You can also use a tennis ball if you have one. You can lay on it on the ground, or you can just go right here, go in circles, and really just where you feel it. For me right now, it's just kind of, posterior shoulder, closer towards the midline of my body, towards my
vertebral column, but you know, just rolling it out, feeling it out. So yeah, anything that really works for you, but really just going to get into that tissue and really just relieve tension.